everybody, Andy Maher here. Welcome to The Blueprint, proudly brought to you by our friends at Hyundai. Joining me, as always, is three-time premiership player, former champion, skipper of the club, Mark Maclure. Great to have you here again. Great man, nice to have you back.
Andy, how you going?
Straight from the fairways of Southern Golf Club. How did you hit him?
Poorly, thank you. Very poorly. About as good as the Blues are going at the moment.
Well, since we were last here, and Reece was here in your place a couple of weeks ago, we won 3 in a row coming into that in that episode. Yeah. The last 2 weeks we've lost 2. No shame in being beaten by Fremantle, who are a good side, and no shame in being beaten by the Western Bulldogs, who are on the way up. But I'll put to you that the way this side is being built and set out at the moment, 2 blue-collar, hard-working, accountable sides that we played in the last 2 weeks. In Melbourne, the Fremantle game, it's disappointing that we weren't able to get over the line, certainly against one of them and probably against the pair of them, even though Fremantle is a very good side. There's
big issues with our fitness and our mental toughness, and it was brought to... we've got a graph here that shows you all the games that we could have won in the last this year. It's about 7 of them where we've led during the game. And if we can put that up, it shows us that Richmond was the first one. We led by 17 points against Richmond in round 1 and got beaten by 5. Collingwood by 23, got beaten by 17. Geelong by 22. All these sides are in the 8. Essendon by 31 and we got beat by 5. Hawthorn by 17, got beat by 15. It just goes on and on. And then Freo, the last one, was a. Don't tell me they got a better list than us. They just are fitter, tougher and stronger. But you know what? We're 9th. You win if you're physically strong.
Win half of those. Give us half of those.
You're in 3 of those.
Yep.
We're in the top 8, quite comfortably and sitting pretty. We're not talking like this, but we have got a major problem with fitness and toughness in our side.
Well, there are 2 things. People, if there were non-Carlton supporters listening to you and I have this conversation right now, they would be saying, you're deluding yourself, you blokes. You're not as good as you think you are. You're absolutely deluding yourself. But those numbers tell a pretty clear story about what might have been. And if it is a fitness and toughness and therefore a mental attitude thing, that can be addressed. That can be addressed because clearly the talent is there.
Well, Freo weren't that side. They are now. They haven't got the greatest team that goes around. They were missing their full-back and their full-forward, and McFarlane and Pavlich, and they still got over us because they work harder. They want to finish off. They want to do it. They run both ways. Their midfield does. Ours doesn't. We've got some real problems in that area. We can't find 2 tall forwards. It's tough to find them.
Well,
we've got some drama there, and we're still in 9th spot with an opportunity to still get in the 8, and that's what I really enjoy. We've got Richmond this week, who've got a poor defence. I reckon if we expose that, if we can, somehow, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we've got to find a way. We're still a chance in this game.
Well, we are. Chris Judd was asked, who won't be part of it, certainly for the next couple of weeks. He's still left a little ray of light at the end of the tunnel that maybe he might play a game of footy between now and the end of the year, depending on when that might be. He spoke to the media this week and gave us an assessment of how he thought the season was going.
We're a mediocre team. We're in the middle range, sitting at 9th. We'd certainly like to be higher up on the ladder, but we are where we are, and I think it's given us a good chance to really... It's given us some real clarity on where our club and where our list is at, and I certainly don't think we've been able to band-aid over anything. We are where we are, and I think the coaching staff would have a really clear picture of that and have probably learned a lot about this group this year, and I think that'll hold us in good stead going forward. But as I said, there's just plenty of work and plenty of improvement for this group to do, and we need to be ready for that.
A lot of interesting stuff in there, and clear picture of where this list is at, and mediocre group and all that sort of stuff. It's going to be the next 3 weeks give us a great opportunity to put all of the what ifs and maybes behind us and get a realistic sense, I reckon, for what we've got. We need to play some of the kids, I reckon.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you've put together your top 6 on how you reckon the Nichols medal voting might go now. If a line was drawn through it after 19 rounds, this is how you reckon our top 6. Not in. Is that the order that you reckon?
No, not in order, but I think probably it's not far off the order. But Walker's been terrific in defence. But actually, I think he's a better player up forward. Henderson went to defence. I think he's a better player up forward too. But we are loading our defence to fill up a hole. Cruz has been okay, reasonably good. Tui's been sensational. Love the way he's gone about it. McLean and Simpson. Now this is not a knock on them. They've been fantastic. But when they're in your top 6, we're in trouble. We haven't got the better players actually up there. So there's drama. That shows you a little bit about where we're at this time. And I left out Heath Scotland, who I think's been terrific as well. And he's 32 years of age.
Yeah. The challenge, surely the challenge, when you look at that list, the challenge is can be squarely laid at the feet of... Now, Mark Murphy had no pre-season. He's carried a knee as well as getting the broken cheekbone, so you can make an excuse for him. But the challenge surely can be thrown at the feet of blokes like Bryce Gibbs and Chris Yarran. I mean, in terms of talent and, pure football ability, those two fellas want to be in that top six, and they should see themselves as being in that top six year in, year out. Yarran's got enough experience now to be pushing into that sort of category, and there's some real challenges you can issue some of the individuals within the group now.
Well, can we? That's the worry for me. I don't understand why they aren't challenging and pushing and shoving it to be better. Do we want to be a mediocre club? Do we want to be, just have the norm go past? And you know what gets me is Murphy. We make excuses for Murphy. No, we don't. We should never make an excuse for anybody.
I think you can.
I don't make excuses. That's the problem with us. We make excuses as if buts, maybes all the time. Give us some exact. What are we doing? Who's going to be better? We've got to be like spark plugs. One pull the one out. You watch Freo. I love watching Freo because you know why? They all play the same, and they all give an effort or they don't play.
I think they're a really good...
That doesn't happen at our place.
Yeah, I think they're a really good... the way Mick's setting us up to play, I think that Fremantle's a really good side for us to have a look at and say, OK, that's where we want to be.
But I know where you're coming from with Bryce Gibbs, and I know where you're coming with the talented players. Yeah. I mean, our talented players aren't working hard enough, and that's what shows why we lose those games. That's simple as that.
We've got, I reckon, the two priorities...
They've been allowed to.
Yeah. Allowed to
play like that in the past. So how do we fix the future? You've got to stop it.
Well, that's one of Mick's great challenges in the off season between now and the start of 2014. So I reckon the two priorities confronting us now with at least 3 rounds to go is obviously finish as strong as we can this year, but get it right as soon as possible. And we saw last week, Watson obviously started the game and he's out for the rest of the year, but there was Menzel in the side, there was Bootsman in the side. Surely we haven't seen the team yet as we're recording this now. Surely Nick Graham has to play this week. I mean, he has to be in the 22 this week, and we need to maybe have a look at Dylan Buckley again. Give a couple of these young blokes who have been nipping at the heels of the senior side just a bit of a look. There's room now with Carato out of the side and Garlett injured and Judd obviously out of side. There's room for some of these young blokes to be given a little bit of a sniff, isn't there?
Totally. And I think you might get your wish, what I hear, that Graham may be in the side. And we're looking forward to seeing him. And there's no shame in that. McGuinness, I want to see McGuinness back in. Yep. I want to see White back in. I want to see Bootsman's there. And I want to see Bell. I want to see Tommy Bell, who's a big, raw bone, 6'2" or 3", 187 centimetres, and really in the midfield having a go because he's rough and tough and all that. And that's what we need. So we need them all in there. Doesn't matter where we finish at this stage because we're not going to win the premiership. I can assure you of that.
No, I think even the most deluded Carlton supporter would suggest that that's probably beyond us in 2013, although the way this year's going, stranger things have happened. It might just be a bit behind us. Hey, we're
you are kidding.
I am kidding. Zach Tui plays his 50th game this week, which is absolutely fantastic.
He's a brilliant kid. Love the way he works. Tough and strong. Great tackle. And that's what, he's come from an Irish background with a non-tackling. And his kicking is outstanding. Pure. I mean, we've got blokes who've been playing this game all their life and they can't kick over a jam tin. And seriously, we play him sometimes. This kid has got so much ability and pace. He's got power. I want to see him in the midfield, and I think that's the progression for him to move into that area because we need some toughness and strength. If you have a look at his build, it's all in the lower area through his core. And his power's there, and he's shown a hell of a lot of players up. He's in his 4th or 5th year now.
The other thing he's shown, I agree with everything you've said. The other thing is your phone rings, which is unbelievable. That's a slab for everybody in the room right now. The other great thing about him is he's shown genuine leadership qualities, which is in terms of this list, they're a lovely bunch of blokes and they're all good fellas, but they're an introverted group. There's not a lot of extroverts in this group, and if you've had the pleasure of meeting Zach Tui, he has a touch of the extrovert about him, and he's a bit out there, and he's prepared to get in the face of an opposition player every now and again. And as we saw from some of those, he takes it on, which is what I love about him. We need a bit more of that.
Yeah, leadership comes in many ways. And a lot of people talk about leadership and it drives us nuts because, seriously, you can be a leader at 18 years of age and be the best tackler in the team. And all of a sudden set a tone for the side that I'm going to do that. I can be the best shepherder in the team. I can do these little things. Are we doing that? No, we're not. And that's where our little problem lies. Good news. Play your role.
Good news from the Irish contingent. The club today announced that it had signed Kieran Byrne on a 2-year international rookie scholarship rookie placement on the list, which is absolutely fantastic. 18-year-old out of Ireland, 187 centimetres. Club's been looking at him for a couple of years. Wayne Hughes has had the eye on him for a while. Extraordinary athlete, has been killing it at Gaelic football level. So
he's my size.
187. I reckon
Tall. He may not be as wide.
No, you weren't always.
Or as fat.
You weren't. No, you're not. You're okay. You're all right.
But, I'm really good. Yeah, don't be
you're
nice.
okay.
You see, that's the problem with you. You're too nice to all the players. You're too nice to everybody. Don't be nice to me.
Yeah, off air I can let loose a little bit, but Jay Allen's over my shoulder.
But I'm really glad that they're bringing some more in, some more kids.
Absolutely.
I think it's good that we're trying those sorts of things. Don't be mistaken, we can beat Richmond. Seriously, we can beat Richmond.
Yeah, I hope you're right.
Brisbane nearly beat them last week. All they needed was a tall forward to catch the ball and mark the ball, and they put Staker down there at one stage, and they almost pinched the game off them. Don't underestimate our blokes, they can do it.
Well, when we come back...
Wouldn't that be a great victory?
That would be a magnificent victory. And when we come back in a couple of weeks, we've played Richmond and Essendon. Wouldn't it be nice if we won both of those games and we're staring at a game against Port Adelaide over at Footy Park that's for a spot? So not only in the top 9, but in the top 8. Wouldn't that be something?
I heard you before. You said we're no hope.
It's an outrageous thing to say on the record, Mark. See, Reece wouldn't have done that to me last week.
I know that. No. That's why he's not here.
Thanks for coming in and having a chat again.
Cheers, guys.
Keep our fingers crossed, folks. That's all we have time for on today's show. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Catch us on the 29th of August. Until then, have a great weekend. Let's knock over the Tigers. Enjoy the footy. Bye for now.